All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, let me turn that off my PC. Jesus. Let's mute that. Don't want to hear myself. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to PRL, Performance Racing League. It's been a while since I've done comms for Tier 2. My name is Gortsauce, and welcome everyone to the stream. And yeah, we're racing at Suzuka today. So, this is going to be an exciting race. Tier 1 was definitely eventful. Not going to lie, the weather definitely made the race very interesting. So, I'm sure that the Tier 2 race will not disappoint either. Let me bring up all this information while we watch everyone do their qualies. So, I've missed a couple of laps trying to get the stream set up, but your current pole sitter is Ace Edge. 128.9, followed by Nico John, a 128.9 as well, just down 300ths. Followed by Northern Canuck in the Williams, Dr. J in the Mercedes, Tac Delta in the Aston Martin, Disgruntled Muppet in the Haas, Jimmy Pullup in the McLaren, LaRodri in the Alfa Romeo, and Dutch in the Williams. Those are the drivers that have set their laps. Do believe Cersei has just started his lap. Camo Banana is on his probably another warm-up lap, getting out of the way of a Mercedes coming. Tafer as well just started his lap, so both Ferraris just started their laps. So we'll stay on board with the Ferrari driver of Cersei Sucks, going through Sector 2 of the track currently, just entered it, was not able to see his delta time, but doesn't really matter because, you know, he hasn't set a lap yet, so we can't compare his times. Through he goes. About to enter the back straight of Suzuka, which, funnily enough, I don't know why, does not have a DRS detection. I think it would be a really good straight to have it instead of just the main straight having the DRS straight, but hey, what do I know? I'm just some random Canadian guy calming for you guys. Cersei Sucks entering the final chicane. A couple of cars ahead of him, but they're going to be nowhere near enough to have any chance of impeding him. I do believe an Aston Martin has just started a lap. Oh no, they're in the pits. Cersei Sucks with a 1:36, the slowest of the bunch. Camo Banana's time is definitely not equivalent to what he's about to say. He's 30 seconds up. That's funny to see. Looks like Dr. J is on a fast lap as well, but he was down 3/10 apparently. Obviously, this game likes to lie a little bit. He did back out of it, though, so looks like he's going to go for another lap. Let me just check Discord, make sure I'm not missing anything. Nope, we're good. All right. Dr. J through the final chicane. Get your foot down as much as you can without spinning the car, and he actually backs out. Heads into the pits for a new set of tires. So he had enough ERS to go for another lap, but decided against it. Fair play. Disgruntled and Tac Delta, both on outlaps. Camo Banana has just started another lap. He actually goes a 1:29.8, and he had a little bit of a moment coming straight out of the Sector 2 timing sheet. We saw him go really wide. You can see, goes wide again. But yeah, I'm sure Camo Banana's time is going to be a lot faster than that. Disgruntled getting out of the way of an Aston Martin coming by, but no one is actually on a lap currently. So we can breathe a little bit. But yeah, welcome to the stream for everyone who's watching. I assume a lot of Tier 1 guys are watching the stream right now after our chaotic race. And I assume a couple of Tier 2 guys that like to listen in. I don't know how you guys do that, listen to the stream and do racing. I find that so distracting. You guys are mad lads if you do that. I guess it's good to like maybe have information during the race that you otherwise wouldn't know, but I don't know. You guys are crazy people. So it does look like Now, Camel Banana's coming into the pits. Looks like Noob is the first driver to be starting their second fast lap, so we'll stay on board with him. In the Mercedes, hasn't set a time yet. Noob, relatively fast driver. He races in midweek with a lot of us. Had a pretty good result in Australia from the last time I remember. So obviously, Noob probably going to be a contender. I assume it's going to be maybe a top five quality position for him. I've been wrong before, but I'm sure he's going to be putting in some solid laps around this track. I'm liking the Brazilian, or no, is that Brazilian? No, is that Jamaican? Looks more Jamaican. That Jamaican style helmet with the green, yellow, and black. Liking that look. As he comes down the famous back straight of Suzuka, he's going to have just enough ERS through the final chicane. You can take a lot of curb coming out of it, but he takes it nice and safe, not to try and invalidate. Looks like it's going to be a low 120. Nope, a high 120. 129.9 for Noob plays. That puts him P9. Nico has just started his lap. Was Disgruntled? Oh, Disgruntled wasn't on the lap. Okay. Stay on board with Nico John in the Aston Martin. Currently P2, only 300ths down on Ace Edge in the other Haas, who I believe has actually not come out for another lap. So he's probably going to come out later, which is also going to save him an extra pair of softs. I didn't catch his Sector 2 timing. God damn it. So you can tell I'm rusty. I haven't calmed in a while. Nico John coming through, what is this? Turn like 14 or 15? Something like that. Takes that really wide, but he's going to have a really good pull as he heads to the back straight. That's a really nice camera angle. I like that. Up 2/10. Fastest Sector 2. That makes sense. Can he finish it off? Goes a little wide through the first corner of the chicane. Looks like it's going to be a low 128. Medium 128. A 128.7. Jumps around 2/10. That puts him on provisional pole, and he should have another lap, or enough time at least, to come back to the pits, put on a new pair of softs, and either save them or go for another run. Looks like Tac Delta had a little bit of a moment on his fast lap, because he is down a lot of ERS, but he was up, or at least down 3 seconds, so something happened on his lap. Jimmy Pull-Up is on a lap in the McLaren. Let's stay on board with him. As he enters, I need to remember what this corner is called, or this straight. What is this straight called? I need to remember it. It's actually bugging me. Suzuka track corner names. Alright, here we go. What is this? Okay, so the back straight is 130R. Why did I not know that? I'm stupid. Well, Jimmy comes into the pit, so he didn't like the lap he was putting together. Tac is going real slow here. Maybe out of fuel. I'm not sure what's going on there. Right in front of the pit exit. Disgruntled Muppet is actually up 4/10 according to the timing sheet. Let's stay on board with the other Haas driver, teammate to Ace Edge. What can the Muppet do? He's up 5/10 now as he just crosses the Sector 3 timing sheet. Can he nail this final chicane and maybe jump up to P3, maybe P2 if he gets it good? Through the final corner. Oh, and there it is, P2. What a lap from Muppet, a 128.8. And I do believe LaRodri just said a 129.4. That may be her final lap unless she gets back to the pits real quick. Great lap from Muppet. Jumps Ace Edge by around a 10th. Down Nico John by a 10th. Looks like a Ferrari's coming here. Is that Tafer? Tafer comes into the pits, so he's going to be setting up for his final flying lap. And another breather. Everyone's in the pits, I guess, waiting to go out. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. All right. So for those of you who are in the chat that actually like to, you know, maybe discuss with the comms guy, any thoughts on the race? Any predictions? Anyone you're cheering for? Oh, I do like Mupplet's Haas theme helmet there. That looks quite nice, actually. I dig that. I dig that. Oh, Muppet almost catching himself off guard there. He almost slammed into the inside wall of 130R. Slows down up a little bit. Muppet actually, I think, is out of fuel here, because his fuel icon is full red. Usually when you're low on fuel, it's blinking red, so Muppet just making it to the pit lane. And it looks like Dr. J is the first car out on track to set a... Is he on a flying lap right now? I don't think so. I think he might have forgot... Okay, I think he remembered to turn off his ERS. He's got his teammate of new plays right behind him. He's going to let him go. So we've got both Mercs. We've got Northern Canuck just coming out of the pit lane, it looks like. Is he? His ERS is going down. Canuck might be on a lap here. Let's stay on board. I do believe Canuck might be on a lap, actually. So we'll stay on board with the Tier 2 admin himself. There's an Aston Martin way off the track getting out of the way. Northern Canuck up 5/10. Oh my god, what a first sector from him. That would put him P1 already, and he's still got 2 sectors to go. What else does Northern Canuck have in the tank? If he sets himself up nice here, he might have a couple of cars ahead of him that could give him maybe a slight slipstream. This is looking really good for Canuck, though. He's got to nail every corner, though. Looks very strong there. Hug as much curb as you can. Any little time counts. He's going to hit the sector time right about now. He's up 3/10 now, so he lost a little bit of time through sector 2. So not as fast as his previous lap. Can he nail the final sector? That number 8 Williams through the final corner. Did he gain a little bit more time? He did. 3/10 just. That puts him P3. A 128.888. Triple eights for Northern Canuck. Who's the next one to cross here? Tac Delta's starting his lap. Looks like a Red Bull. Butler's about to start his lap. So I do believe we're caught up now. And it is the 2 Mercedes of New Plays. New Plays down 1/10 on his previous time. Dr. J just a little bit behind. New Plays about to cross the Sector 3 timing sheet. Is he up more? He's actually down a little bit. Just 900ths now. What is Dr. J? Dr. J is down on time 400ths. He's not going to improve unless he gets a really good final chicane. New Plays through the final corner. Oh, and he had a really bad chicane, so no improvement for New Plays. Dr. J has a great final sector. Jumps up to P5 with a 129.2. Looks like we have a Haas. Oh, an ace edge! The pole lap. He was up 2/10 going through that sector, pushed too hard, lost the car. And Nico John jumps up to pole a 128.4. What could have been for ace edge, because I do believe it only updates us from his Sector 2 sheet, so we have no idea how much he actually improved. Looks like we have an Alpine coming out. That is probably Camo Banana. Camo Banana heavily overshoots the final chicane. He will not improve. Tac Delta up down 2/10. He's going to have to go faster if he wants to improve any time. Doesn't look like he's going to. Oh, he improves by 0.52. That actually does jump LaRodgery. Butler, the final one to come across the line. Oh, P2 for him. What a lap from Butler. Jumps a second and 1/10. Puts him P2 right behind Nico John, and I think that is your final qualifying order. My goodness, that was a crazy end to qualifying, but here's your final positions for qualifying. Invalidated on the final corner, my warm. Oh, so it invalidated you for the next lap too. That is rough, Camo, but you've got the pace, buddy. I'm sure you'll be able to make your way up the field. While I can't see everyone's name, I do know your top three is Nico John in the Aston Martin, Butler in the Red Bull, and Disgruntled Muppet in the Haas. Yep, there it is. Followed by Northern Canuck in the Williams. And Ace Edge, oh, what a lap that could have been. He was up 2/10 before we saw the final lap timing sheet. He was up 2/10 going through this the chicane, lost the car. What could have been, but Ace Edge has the pace. He's going to push for the front. Jimmy Pull-Up in the McLaren, a 129.1. Dr. J, Tac Delta, LaRodri, and Camo Banana round out your top 10. And then new plays, Tafer, Dutch, Cersei Sucks, and Flying Grayson round out your final qualifying positions. And now we head into the countdown for the race. Good stuff, Tier 2. That was a great little run you guys had. Now I'm excited for the race. If anyone in Tier 2 is watching, let me know if there's any interesting weather or if it's just sunny, because from my POV it looks like it's nice and bright and sunny. So should be a nice, exciting race. Can I check who's in here? All right. I see a couple of you guys that are racing that are listening to the Twitch chat. I don't know how you guys do it. Crazy bastards. Crazy bastards. But yeah, haven't gotten a weather update, but from my POV, sunny all the way, beautiful. No strategy. Well, not gonna say no strategy, but strategy will not be thrown out the window with some rain thrown in. Nice sunny day in Suzuka. You know what? I don't believe in commentators curse, so I'm going to give some predictions here. I'm going to go Northern Canuck P2. I'm going to go Ace P3. And I'm going to go... I could play it safe and just say Nico John P1. That's kind of boring. I think... Who is P... I think Muppet is going to win the race. There we go. That would be an exciting one. Muppet P1, Canuck P2, Ace P3. That would be a beautiful race. All right, no formation lap. Here we go, boys. 5 red lights. And we are racing in Suzuka. Great start from Butler. He's side by side with the Aston Martin. Let me bring up the data here. We're going to go through the field. No contact from anybody. Do we go back to the front? Oh, we got some side-by-side action. Tac Delta and Jimmy pull up. Tac Delta has thrown on the softs. Let me bring that up for everyone. As we go through our first sector of the race, what are the position changes? Oh, a lot of them. We'll take a look at those after. Let's just watch this first lap with no differences here. So Nico John does lead from Butler. Ace Edge is actually up 2 positions already. We do have a yellow flag that might be Dutch in the back in the Williams. Northern Canuck has lost a position. Muppet has lost 2 positions. And that is your top 5 as they sit. Let me bring up the tires again. So, the top 5 all running on the medium tire. And oh, we do have, I think there's a spin. There is a spin. Tafer in the Ferrari has lost it at the end of Sector 2. No contact, though, from anybody, so that is good to see. Like, as we said, the top 5 all on the medium tire. Ace Edge has moved up 2 positions. No surprise there. Northern Canuck, though, very close behind. Does look like Northern Canuck has underfueled. Same for Tac Delta. That is brave at a track like Suzuka. We're going to keep an eye on that, because if there's no safety cars, Canuck and Tac Delta are going to be in some trouble. But now, while everything's kind of slowing up, let's take a look at the position changes. Oh, so Butler is actually just taking the lead of the race. Can't believe I missed that. Butler just took the lead of the race before entering Sector 2. Butler is flying at the moment. So Nico John down from the lead. Ace Edge, of course, up 2 positions. So Canuck actually stays P4 as Ace passed him, but he passed Muppet. Muppet down 2. Tac Delta up 2 positions. He is on the soft tire. Jimmy Pull-Up as well on the soft tire. Noob, I believe, is on the mediums. LaRodgery on the mediums. Stays where she qualied. Dr. J down 3 positions. Not the start he wanted. Grayson up 4, though. Great start for that Alpine. Camel Banana down 2, but he did start on the hards, so he's going for the slow tire first, fast tire at the end. Cersei Sucks up 1, Dutch down 1, and Tafer down 3. Oh, and oh my god, lots of passing through here. Looks like nothing has changed. We go back to the front of the field. Butler has built a 7/10 gap, sets the fastest lap of the race. Ace Edge not far behind from Nico John. Muppet is pressuring Canuck. He goes for the move. Oh, almost squeezes the Williams off the track. Gave him as little room as he could there. But Muppet now back up to P4, has used some ERS. Northern Canuck has not used much. I'm really worried about that underfueling by Northern Canuck. If there's not a safety car, he is going to run out of fuel well before this race is over. But now, Muppet attempts to hold up Canuck, who is being chased down by very quick cars in Jimmy Pull-Up on the softs and Tac Delta as well. Actually, that was the pass I missed. Jimmy, I believe, jumped Tac Delta a lap prior. So we'll stay on board with Jimmy Pull-Up. We'll get rid of that so we can have a bigger view of the racing here. This is what we like to see. We don't need to know positions just yet. We can see that on the track map. But Jimmy Pull-Up, I wonder if he's going to burn some ERS here to try and get past that Williams. It looks like he is, but we do know that Canuck has saved up a lot, and he is burning it. Oh, he decides to let it off. Decides to not fight the soft runner. Oh, and Northern Canuck goes wide there. I'm not sure if they went side by side to not let Jimmy Pull-Up with an easy pass, but Jimmy now up 1 position. Northern Canuck is going to be under pressure from Tac Delta relatively soon. Disgruntled has pulled a little bit of a gap. Ace Edge trying to chase down Nico John and Butler, who are relatively close to each other. And we do have some pit stops already. Oh, never mind. It looks like Grayson... Oh, and Grayson had a little bit of a moment that I didn't catch. He was up to P11 ahead of his teammate, but now he is down behind Dutch. Actually, Grayson may have pit. Did he pit? Does look like Grayson is struggling a little bit. No, he didn't pit. Okay. Well, keep an eye on Grayson. Not sure what happened to him. Probably a little bit of a moment. And Nico John has taken back the lead of the race through the hairpin. I assume he had a way better exit. And now your pole sitter back up to the lead of the race. But these two squabbling have let Ace Edge back into DRS range. And his teammate, Disgruntled Muppet, not far behind. But he's being chased down by Jimmy Pull-Up on the sauce. But those softs should be... they're about to even out with the mediums relatively close. Jimmy, with no ERS left, flies by Muppet. Muppet goes wide. They're side by side through 130R. Into the chicane. Muppet should be able to get this position back if he gets a better exit. Doesn't look like it, though, but he is going to have DRS to pull himself along. Canuck is still holding off Tac Delta, who's actually under pressure from Noob Plays currently. Tac Delta going for the move on Canuck. Makes it happen with the ERS. Both of these drivers are underfueled currently. Noob Plays watching these two squabble, hopefully thinking he may be able to get both of them. The top three very close to each other, separated by almost barely 6/10. As you can see, though, Butler has burned a lot more ERS. Nico John's at 90. Almost thinking of a move there. Decides not to. Ace Edge actually has a really good exit. He burns a little bit of ERS. Don't think he's going to make the move through this section of the track, though. Oh, and we have a move. Noob Plays. Looks like he's actually made the move on Northern Canuck. Look at this squabble. 3 cars. LaRodri has entered the picture. Tough to make a move. Oh, and Noob Plays gets held up a little bit. Has a bad exit, and that holds up LaRodri. She had a fantastic entrance to that corner, but it's all blown away. And this may be an overtake for Nico John. He's got a lot of ERS. He's got DRS. Butler decides not to burn any. Yeah. Apologies for the quietness there, but we are back. And as it stands, Nico John has retaken the lead of the race. Butler is under pressure from Ace Edge in the Haas. And Jimmy Pull-Up is somewhat gaining on the pack ahead of them, followed by Muppet, who is deciding to stay in the slipstream of the McLaren ahead of him. We have a big group of cars here. Look at this. From P6 to P10, all in a line here. Tac Delta is the one leading the charge. Northern Canuck has lost positions. He is down to P8. And LaRodri does look like she's got a really quick car. So she is going to be pressuring Northern Canuck. Northern Canuck has a bad exit. LaRodri, you don't see many passes there, but she gets it done past the Williams. And she pushes on to maybe gain more positions. Tac Delta with no ERS. He's low on fuel. Tac Delta, this could be bad for him. He's got no ERS. He's got a lot of cars behind him with DRS. He may lose 2 positions here. LaRodri's got good speed. Oh, and she's basically got no room of the track left. She was going to think about going on the outside, decides against it. Oh, and she tries to go around the outside again, but Tac Delta shuts the door. And this is allowing Noob to gain a little bit of time. He's already 8/10 up the road. LaRodri definitely has very good pace here. She's going to want to try and get past Tac Delta as quick as she can. Northern Canuck does not seem to have had the greatest race start. He has been struggling. And Dr. J is right behind him. Dr. J loses the car. Gets too much curb. Oh, and Ace has retired from the session. He lost the car at the Oh, that is a disastrous result for Ace Edge. He was in P3. You can see the wing that he smashed there. I'm not sure if he just lost the car. It does look like a little bit of a weird space to lose the car. Not sure if he just got on the throttle too hard. And that is our first safety car. A fantastic race so far. If we go to position changes, the top three are now even on where they started. Nico John P1 hops into the pit lane. So does Butler. Muppet decides to as well. Muppet is actually going relatively slow into the pit lane. I mean, he's not going to lose any positions. Jimmy pull up. Great start from him. He's up 2 positions. Started on the softs. This actually works out really well for him. He can go onto the hards for the rest of the race. And Camo Banana, the only man I think to start on hards, is now your race leader. Everyone else has come into the pits, so Camo Banana is the only man out there with his starting tire strat, which is understandable. He did start on the hard, so he does actually want to make that worth it. He couldn't really switch to mediums because those mediums would not have a fun time going 20 laps to the end of the race. So difference in strategies here. So Nico John goes for the play that he's going to go to the end of the race on the hards. Butler slaps on the softs. So he's going to go for a 2-stop. He's going to go for softs till lap 16 maybe. Slap on the mediums. Muppet and Jimmy have gone the same as Nico John. Noob actually slaps on another pair of softs. LaRodri goes for the hards just like the cars in front of her. Tac Delta slaps on the mediums, maybe thinking he can go long on those mediums. Canuck slaps on the hards. Cersei the softs. Dr. J the mediums. Grayson the hards. Dutch the mediums. And Tafer the mediums. So a lot of different strategies. I will say Camo Banana is going to be under pressure here. The hards aren't going to be too warm, but fresh hards and fresh softs behind him, it's going to be very hard to defend. Curious if Ace Edge has commentated. So Ace Edge did lose the car. That is unfortunate. It did look like a weird area to lose it, but I guess the cars was stable until he got to the higher gears, and the car just decided to lose it. Unfortunate for Ace Edge. Looked like it was a guaranteed podium for him, maybe a race win. He looked like he had very strong pace, but unfortunately, you do got to keep the car out of the wall. So, no race win for Ace Edge today. We are down to now 14 drivers. Not the biggest grid we've had this season, but still a relatively respectable grid, and we're going to have 18 laps to go by the time this gets underway. So, I mean, if I'm looking at this, I'm a man who prefers not relying on safety cars to help my strategy. Obviously, it helps, and strategies are usually better off when safety cars work for them. But I would probably be more confident if I'm driving, if I'm Nico John, if I'm Muppet, Pull Up, Rodri, Canuck, Grayson. The medium drivers have it a little bit differently. They can definitely go 18 laps racing. They're not going to be great at the end, but they can definitely make it. But the soft runners I don't think the time they're going to make up is gonna help them out unless there is a safety car. And if there is a safety car, that is going to benefit them a lot because they're going to be able to pit for very quick tires, and the hard runners are basically going to be forced to pit. And I mean, realistically, Nico John has been the quickest driver on track so far, but he has not been quick enough to match the pace of Butler, who is on soft tires now. So safety car should be in this lap. It should activate. Oh, there we go. So the biggest what if in this situation is this guy right here, Camo Banana, in the Alpine. His tires aren't going to be bad, but they're not going to be anywhere near as close as the cars behind him, and that is every single car behind him. Everyone's on just one lap. We'll go on board with Camo Banana. He puts on the gas, and look at a start that Butler's got. Oh, and Camo Banana is under pressure here. Oh, don't go 3 wide. Oh, Butler decides against it. Good move. That could have been bad. Camo Banana leaves the space, loses 2 positions off the rip. Oh, Camo Banana does look... Oh, and Camo Banana is really struggling. Those tires, he is not like those tires. And that's what you get sometimes when you stay out on those old tires. Sometimes they aren't warm enough. And Camo Banana's strategy has just gone out the window. So we're now down to our top 3 still being the same as where they qualied. Muppet, Butler, and Nico John are your top 3. And I mean, I may have spoken too soon here. Nico John has been able to hold off Butler on those soft tires relatively well as of now. And I mean, the longer that he holds off those soft tires, the longer the harder it's going to be for Butler to actually get past. Go through the field here. I don't think there's any... Oh! Tafer and Grayson going side by side there. No idea what happened. Grayson is trying to make a move on Tafer. Side by side through 130R. Oh, and there is the pass. Butler has decided to burn a bunch of ERS and get by Nico John. So now, Butler's mission is to try and build a gap as big as he can. And we are back, and Butler is starting to build a little bit of a gap, but I don't think Nico John is going to let him get out of DRS. Muppet has burned a bunch of it as well to get into DRS as well, and that's dragging Jimmy Pull-Up and Noob along, and LaRodri. Butler does set the fast lap of the race, and he is just out of DRS now, as DRS is enabled. So he's going to have a full lap here to try and build as big of a gap as he can. And Muppet is pulling little bit by little bit to Nico John, but he does lose a lot of time through the S's, so maybe Muppet running a higher straight line setup compared to the cars around him, because Jimmy Pull-Up and Noob plays on the soft, so he's going to have a pretty big pace advantage. Oh, and we do have a spin that looks like Tafer in the Ferrari. No damage, but he does lose it in the S's, and that's going to drop him down to the final points getting positions. Camo Banana, first driver to get a 3-second time penalty for track limits. I have seen a couple of track limits from these two gentlemen right here, so curious how many warnings they are at. Butler, unfortunately, has not been able to keep that 1-second gap that he had. He is now within DRS of Nico John. Oh, we have another spin that looks like Camo Banana in the Alpine had a little bit of a moment. But Butler now to 0 ERS, basically. Nico John still at half, and he is now gaining on Butler. Oh no, and Muppet loses the car. Doesn't look like he has any damage on that Haas, but that is a disastrous result for Muppet. He was having a great race. And I guess he took that corner. Took that corner with too much speed, lost the car, and now he's down to P10 instead of a podium position. So now Jimmy Pullup is the final podium position getter. But he is being hunted down by Noob and LaRodgery. So now the top two have gotten a little bit of a gap between themselves and the rest of the field. And I'm curious when these softs are going to start dying. They're probably not at the greatest state right now. I don't think the hards are faster, but they're getting there. Nico John gets a better exit here. He may be able to make the pass. Doesn't look like it. Those softs just seem to have a little bit extra grip. So now we look back to P3, P4, and P5. New Plays hasn't really been able to do much on the softs to get by Jimmy Pullup. And the longer the softs go, the longer the harder it's going to be to pass. You can see they do have that really good grip through the S's. This is where Noob makes up most of his time. He is on the tail of Jimmy now, but relatively hard to pass in this section until they get to 130R. And LaRodgery is not letting herself get out of DRS. She's got a lot more ERS than the two in front of her. Go back to the front of the field here. Nico John is on the rear diffuser of Butler. Who's going to get a better exit? Does look like Nico John does. Is he going to burn the ERS to make the pass? Does not look like it. Butler trying to save as much ERS as he can, but he's only got 11%. Nico John with the slipstream is now just 0.2 behind his rival. I think Nico John, if he gets a good exit here... Oh yeah, Butler has a little bit of a snap. This is going to be easy as pie for Nico John with DRS and ERS. He is going to fly by the Red Bull. Burns around 20% ERS, makes the pass for the lead once again. And with the state of Butler's tires, don't think he's going to be able to make another pass on Nico John. So Jimmy is now under 10% ERS. Noob at 14. LaRodgery still at 50. So she's setting herself up well here to make a run for the final podium position, as the cars in front of her are lacking in front end speed. And she is still able to hold that around 8th to 6/10 gap. You can see though, I mean, I just raced Tier 1, so it's easy to compare. But like, for example, LaRodgery takes that corner before the hairpin really lightly. Like, she doesn't try and take any curb. She takes it really slow. Now, obviously, that's very safe. She's not going to spin in that corner, as you've seen, for example, I do believe it was... Who was it? Who spun there? Was that Dr. J? I think Dr. J was the driver that spun on that corner because he just put the gas down too much. Oh, and we do have another spin that looks like Camel Banana on the mediums. Has not been the race Camel Banana has wanted. But he's just got to get his head down. Maybe a safety car will come and he can put himself back into the race. And Noob Plays puts himself into the pit lane. He's going to be throwing on the medium tires for the rest of this race. So now we look to drivers like Butler and drivers like Cersei to make another pit stop. That also does move Larodri up to P4, so now she's got no one interfering between her and Jimmy Pullip. Alright, I am back. Sorry for that, ladies and gentlemen. But, yeah. Safety car. Everything's changed. So I do believe Dr. J got disqualified for blocking the pit lane. Not sure what happened there. Unfortunate for him. Usually the game is very not very nice with that. So unfortunate for him. But yeah, Nico John in the lead of the race with the fast, soft tire Butler and Jimmy on mediums, LaRodri, Tac Delta on softs, Cersei Sucks on mediums, Canuck and Muppet on softs, Dutch on softs as well, Grayson on mediums, Tafer on mediums, Noob on the hards, and Camo on the mediums. Now down to 13 cars with 9 laps to go. Something's broken in your controller. Is it stick drift? I had a pretty rough time with stick drift until I swapped controllers. So with 8 laps to go, oh, and Grayson gets a 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Not sure what happened there. He might be able to get that removed, though. That is interesting. But yeah, this is looking good for Nico John. Fastest tire in the lead. His 2 nearest competitors on slower tires, and I mean the softs should keep most of their pace till the end of the race. While Rodri and Tac Delta on softs, they're going to make a push for the podium spots. Cersei on mediums is going to try to defend against Canuck, Muppet, and Dutch. This is a good chance for Muppet to try and gain positions back, because he was P3 before he had his spin. So this is a good opportunity for him to get positions back and try and minimize his spin. What else? What else? Oh, I did forget to mention at the beginning of the race, but your championship leader, Lucasade, is actually, well, as you can see, wasn't racing today. So obviously every competitor here is going to make up some solid points against him. Actually, take a quick look at the standings right before the safety car is going to come in. Tier 2 standings, here we go. So Northern Canuck is down 44, LaRodri down 66, and Nico John down 79. So this will be, if they all finish the race, it's going to be a pretty good points gain for all of them. Camo Banana, of course, P5 as well, but he does seem to be having controller issues, so finishing the race will probably be his best result. Here we go. Nico John starts the field. We're on lap 20 of 27, so technically 8 laps to go now. Everyone got away well. It does look like Grayson and the rest of the pack behind him got away a little slow. Tafer going for the move. Look at that. Oh, and someone has lost. Oh, and Noob has lost a full front wing. I'm not sure what happened there. Both Alpines going side by side. Nico John is already a second up the road. Fastest first sector. Cersei and Dutch have lost a couple of positions. Canuck up to P6. Muppet up to P7. He's actually well back at Canuck, though, so he's going to have to push a little bit to get into the DRS of the rest of the field. Jimmy is pressuring Butler very hard here. Nico John, fastest lap of the race. That's like almost a second faster than the last lap, I believe. But Butler and Jimmy are actually, they're not losing that much time. Well, Rodri is also gaining a little bit. She had a little bit of a rough start, but she's getting within DRS now. Tac Delta is off of DRS of Rodri. It's going to activate, I think, next lap. Northern Canuck is catching up to Tac Delta pretty quickly here. Muppet not far behind. He was 1.8 seconds down. Now he's down to 1.4. Nico John has pulled his lead to around 1.4 seconds. He seems to gain a lot of time through the S's now and the fast-firing sections of the track, but once it gets to the straight line area, he does tend to lose it, but that is because Butler is burning a lot of ERS here. Pull-up is as well. Oh, and Butler actually sets the fastest lap of the race by 2:10, so he is pushing hard. He is not going to let Nico John escape just yet, and Jimmy's not far off either. Rodri's actually lost time. Doesn't look like she's able to keep up with the top three. Neither can Tac Delta. Canuck is catching Tac a little bit. Muppet now down a second to Canuck, so these three may battle it out for P5. Oh, and we do have a spin, and that is Camo Banana again. Thankfully, he only loses one position. I think Camo... Oh, big snap of oversteer for Camo there. I think he's just got to try and bring the car home here. Does look like Butler is burning as much ERS as he can, but he's just not able to get within the DRS of Nico John. Jimmy Pull-Up is burning a little bit of ERS as well to stick with Butler. He's not going to be able to make the pass this lap, but maybe the next one, because he does have a pretty solid advantage of ERS over Butler now. Rodri down 2 seconds, so unless something happens to the front two in front of her, I don't think she's going to be able to get into the podium positions, but she'll stick with it. Canuck has gotten past Tac Delta. We missed that one. Muppet now pressuring Tac Delta. Muppet would probably love it if he could get himself at least in the top 5. This is the closest battle on track, apart from the two behind them, Dutch and Cersei. Dutch holding on to P8 right now. Oh, and Dutch with the 3-second time penalty. There goes his lead over the two Ferraris behind him. So that is going to put him net P10. I think Muppet is not going to be able to. Oh, and Cersei already gets by the Williams of Dutch. Oh, Tack had a rough corner. Muppet had a little bit of a snap, but he's still going to get a better exit. Oh my god, he might be able to make the move almost before the finish line. So now Muppet hunts down Northern Canuck for that elusive P5 position. Jimmy Pull-Up is still within like 5/10 of Butler, just hasn't been able to make the pass. LaRodri has pulled a gap a little bit. It's now down to 1.5 instead of 2. Is she going to be able to make up more time? The softs are going to die down faster than the mediums. Oh, and we have an Alpine spin behind us. I do believe that is Camel Banana again. All eyes on basically this top 6 right now. Nico John only has been able to pull about a 1.65 second gap. And, I mean, the mediums might be the faster tire now. But, of course, Nico John has helped himself here. He's kept 50% of his ERS in case of a move late in the race. But, I mean, Butler and Jimmy here, if they want to catch Nico John and maybe make a push for the race win, they might have to work together instead of battle each other. Butler is just able to get such a good exit out of the final corner that even with a really good exit, Jimmy with DRS is just not able to get anywhere near close to Butler to make the move. And now the lead is now down to a second. So I do believe Butler and Jimmy, well, I mean, Jimmy's being pulled along, but Butler, I think, has a much better top end. And you can see that big snap of oversteer. Butler almost lost the car there, lost 3/10. And these are important tenths because we're down to 2.5 laps to go now. Camel Banana has put on the soft tire. Maybe he can steal fastest lap of the race. While Rodri's still at around 1.5 seconds. Unless something ahead happens, I don't think she's going to be able to make a move. Jimmy has saved up a lot of ERS. He might be saving it up just for the final lap. This is the closest he's been. Jimmy's not going to use the ERS. If he used it, he might have been able to make the move there, but he decides to hold back, but he's running out of time to catch Nico John, so ideally that may have been his best chance. It's a fantastic angle, like this. Yeah, and LaRodri is now dropped to 2.2 seconds. I think those softs are starting to drop off a little bit. Well, with these two squabbling, it's gonna be tough for them to catch Nico John. Oh, and Muppet gets a 3-second time penalty. That will lose him a positions to tack Delta, unless something drastic changes. Back to the lead we go. Jimmy is using his overtake here. He's got to get as close as he can to Butler. And he's got to have a good exit. He's as close as he's ever been through there. Can he get a good exit? He does. He's as close as he's ever been. He's going to burn it. This is his last chance. Butler has not saved any ERS. There goes Jimmy Pull-Up into P2. He waited until the last lap, so Butler cannot get him back again. But I think Jimmy's not going to be able to catch Nico John here. He's a second ahead. He's kept that gap for around a couple of laps now. So unless Nico John has a moment, this is looking good for him and not looking good for the guys behind him. But Jimmy is pushing. Oh, and you can tell how much Jimmy's pushing. It went really wide there. That's going to drop him almost 4/10. Jimmy can't get too excited, though, because Butler has saved up the same amount of ERS as him. And Butler does get... Oh, and Camo Banana does steal fastest lap, a 1:29.2. Butler is going to burn the ERS. He has about the same as Jimmy. He's gaining. Not going to gain enough, though. And Nico John, a fantastic race from the Aston Martin driver. He comes home and takes the Suzuka win. Jimmy, with a fantastic race, comes home P2. Butler, great race from him, snags the final podium position in P3. LaRodri, fantastic race from P9, comes home P4. Canuck finishes about where he started. Could have had a better race, could have had a worse race, but he recovers to P5 after dropping down, I think, to P10, his furthest. Tac Delta does jump disgruntled Muppet with his penalty. What could have been for Muppet? P3. Looked like he was maybe on for a podium, had his spin. Tafer, great result from him, P8. I think he started around last. Dutch takes home the final podium, or the final inside the top 10 position. He actually jumped Cersei. I think Cersei did have a penalty in a moment. Grayson comes home P11. Noob plays. He had a couple of incidents with other drivers this race, so definitely could have had a better race. Oh, and side by side. I didn't realize how close it was between those two. I'm not sure who took that one in the end. Looks like a Noob does, because he didn't have any penalties. Driver of the day is Tafer. Not a bad driver of the day. Tafer had a pretty good race altogether. And here is your podium. Nico John takes home the win. Followed by Jimmy Pull-Up. Great race from P6. Snags P2. Butler battled Nico the whole race. Unfortunately, tire strategy at the end did favor Nico. And Butler was unable to get anywhere near close to Nico to make the pass. And that is your top three. Rounding down the rest of the order, LaRodri. Fantastic race for P9, like I said earlier. She definitely was the best of the rest there. Comes home in P4. Northern Canuck started P4, ends P5. Probably could have had a better race, but he'll take those points. Tac Delta jumps up from P8 to P6. Disgruntled, of course, qualified P3, drops down to P7. What could have been for him? Tafer, Dutch, and Cersei round out the top 10. Those three were battling for basically the entirety of the end of the race. Flying Grayson, Noob plays, Camo Banana round out the drivers who finished the race, and unfortunately Ace Edge, what could have been for him? He had very good pace, unfortunately lost the car around lap 7, and Dr. J gets his unfortunate disqualification after getting reset to track. So that is your final finishing order for Suzuka Tier 2 Performance Racing League. That will be all for me. Usually I try and do commentary and interviews, but interviews are a little bit of a pain to set up. So maybe next time when I eventually do comms for Tier 2 once again. But that'll be all for me for Gourd Sauce and Performance Racing League. Catch us next time. Where are we racing next time? Let's take a look. Where are the calendars? So we just did the Netherlands. Ooh, that should be a fun one. Netherlands should be a very fun track. And of course, don't miss us on midweek, where we race on Sunday evenings in Eastern Time, I think at 8:30 p.m. Where are we racing in the midweek? China. Oh no, we're racing Imola. We are racing Imola, not China. China will be the week after. So some exciting tracks coming up. So once again, thank you for joining me and Performance Racing League, and we'll see you guys this Wednesday for midweek racing at Imola, and then we'll see you guys next Sunday for Tier 1 and Tier 2 racing at Zandvoort. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.